One of the most prestigious tournaments in all of sports just concluded. The one where everyone wears white, where the royals stand around, where celebrities watch from corner to corner. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Wimbledon men's tennis and women's tennis, sure. But today we're going to be focusing on the men's 2024 Wimbledon tournament. It was a big one. It was a packed one. A lot happened, and I'm going to be giving you guys a recap of everything that happened, stuff you might have missed, stuff you definitely didn't miss but you want to hear again. So let's get right into it. Okay, so in this video, I'll be breaking down winners and losers by each round. So you have the first round, second round, third round, fourth round, quarterfinals, semifinals, and obviously the final. I'll be giving you guys a winner and a loser of each round. A winner was basically a player who was glad to make it this far into the tournament and who had a big match or a big showing, something that will impact their career for the better. A loser is someone who probably should have done better. It'll provide a lot of context for you guys, kind of show you guys a lot of the stories and a lot of the big names and how everyone's doing, but also learn about some of the smaller guys and how they're doing. But first, before that, let's talk about the story of the tournament. Injuries. There were so many injuries this tournament. Court 1 was a graveyard. You had guys like, just to name a few, Taylor Fritz, Zverev, Dimitrov, Kokkinakis, Diminor, Hurkacz, all of those got injured. Okay, now let's do winners and losers by rounds. Obviously starting with round 1. The biggest loser of round 1 and technically the biggest upset, although unfortunately we all kind of saw this one coming. Rublev loses in the first round. He has had a horrific year to the point where everyone's just feeling bad for him. It's kind of depressing. But what made him even a bigger loser is that he lost to Comensa, a guy who has never played on grass and is a clay court specialist. And then for winner of the first round, we have a fan favorite of mine, Kokkinakis, winning in a 5-set absolute battle. It was a match against a ranked opponent in FAA or Felix. Kokkinakis came back from 2 sets to love. This man, if you don't know about him, he's this Australian guy, friends with Kyrgios, and in all the majors, he produces some just intense classics. Every major, he just seems to put it all out there and is really fun to root for. Now, going on to round 2 for losers. We got 2. Okay, I'm sneaking in 2. Really quick one. Ruud ended up losing again. We all know he's not good on grass, but man, he cannot make it past the second round and is definitely a loser for losing to like a 37-year-old Italian. But for the bigger loser, and this is a big storyline here, Jack Draper, the English, crown to pound god who was supposed to replace Andy Murray, has another disappointing year at Wimbledon. After doing well at Queens, everyone was like, yo, this might be Jack Draper's year. What's going to happen? Pain. That's what's going to happen. He ends up losing in straight sets to a fellow Englishman who is supposed to be way better than Cam Norrie. Again, this is disappointing to Jack Draper. He still looks like a little kid out there. He is not built for the best of 5 sets. And is honestly probably super disappointing to British fans. Now for the winners of this round, I'm going to go with Arthur Fils. Woo! This guy was not known for his grass abilities, is a young and up-and-coming star, so it's awesome when you have these guys be able to play on multiple surfaces. And again, he comes out here and beats one of the favorites in Hubie Hurkacz. Obviously, a little asterisk is the fact that Hubie did get hurt, unfortunately, mid-match. But honestly, Fils was looking really, really dominant and looked like he was going to win anyway. Now going into the third round, it's starting to get serious. It's starting to heat up. I've got 2 big winners for this round. Starting off with my favorite, so I might be a little bit biased here, but Ben Shelton gets his 3rd win in a row, 3rd 5-setter win in a row. Again, he's just clutch out there. He's looked really good in the 5-setters and definite winner, beating Denis Shapovalov. Although he did end up losing to Sinner next round, who cares? I mean, if you lose to one of the best players in the world, that's still okay. And Ben Shelton had a great showing. And then for another winner, I'm going to have Gio Mepeshi Peshafakard. Did not pronounce that right, but this man, he was a winner, okay? Woo! The 6'7" French giant looked really good out there at Wimbledon. Looked like another serve bot because, God, we need more of them. No, all jokes aside, this guy, I mean, coming in from qualifiers, he goes out there, makes the 4th round, ends up losing to Musetti, but looks really good in that 3rd round victory. I mean, he can just serve like holy water. I mean, that didn't make any sense, but just something about his serves looked like holy water. They're so smooth. In terms of losers, again, in the 3rd round, I wouldn't say we have many. It was a little bit disappointing for Dennis. Again, the Federer youngster to not be able to beat another youngster in Ben Shelton and not be able to pull out the 5-set victory. It's a little disappointing, but I think he's still overall pretty happy with his performance. I would say if I had to pull another loser, it might be Francis Tiafoe, who lost in the 5 sets to Carlos Alcaraz. Obviously, this is a great showing from him, and you can't really expect him to beat Alcaraz, but if he would have won that match, it would have been insane and monumental for Francis. So let's jump straight into the 4th round now. Again, we'll start with the losers, and there's one giant loser this round. Holger Rune decided to put on a stinker against Djokovic. There's so much hype going into this match, definitely the 4th round match to look forward to. And man, he just did not show up. Big 3? Hell no. Holger Rune is not on Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner's level, unfortunately, and he just proved it again. This was his chance to kind of make a statement, and he just could not do it, so he's definitely a loser. Now, in terms of winners for this round, has to go to the American men. You gotta go Tommy Paul, and especially Taylor Fritz, who comes back from 2 sets to love to beat Zverev. They looked amazing. It was really big for them to both make the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, especially Taylor Fritz, who's looking for that, that Grand Slam performance, and that was a gritty match he put out there to make the semifinals. The American men are turning up. Watch out. They can play. Let's go. All right, now on to the quarterfinals. We've got 2 losers. Taylor Fritz, again, I just talked about him. He was a winner. He had an opportunity to make a semifinal, and he decides to go out there and lose to Musetti. Not sure what he was doing. That is a big disappointment. But even more of a loser, Sinner was unable to beat Medvedev for the 6th time in a row. I know, shocking. But it is a bit disappointing because, again, he had to have seen Alcaraz and Djokovic move on and felt a little bit left behind there since he is a top player. He was the #1 seed coming in, and to lose in the quarterfinals has got to be at least a little bit disappointing. Again, not the worst loss ever, but that 5th set was brutal. In terms of winners, again, we're going to go Musetti. This was impressive from Musetti. He has looked phenomenal on grass. One of the last one-hand backhanders left out there, and great showing for him. He had an opportunity with a pretty easy draw, and he snagged that grab. He snagged that opportunity and made it all the way to the semifinals, where again he got blown out by Djokovic, but that's normal. That's okay. That's okay for Musetti. And now we'll be going into the semifinals, winners and losers. Pretty obvious here who lost. Medvedev was a big loser in this one. Disappointing for him not to be able to push Alcaraz, especially after taking that 1st set. He just completely fell apart, and I don't know if he'll ever beat Carlos again. And in terms of a winner for the semifinals, I gotta give it to Djokovic. He really went out there, dominated Musetti, and everyone was like, this might be Djokovic's year. Is he actually going to do it? He made the finals. Can he win it all? So it's definitely a winner from him in the semifinals. Again, just looked dominant, looks great, could return great, and could serve great. Time for the meat of the tournament. And if we're being honest, the only thing people remember, what celebrity showed up at the Wimbledon final? No, but all seriousness aside, there was a lack of celebrities out there, man. I think I saw Tom Cruise, and that was it. Where was everybody at, man? Where was everybody at? No, but let's lock in here and talk about the meat of the tournament, the thing people will remember, the Wimbledon final, which ended up being a rematch of the historic Wimbledon final last year, 2023, where Novak faced Carlos Alcaraz, and Alcaraz took it in 5 sets in what was maybe the most dramatic tennis match I've ever witnessed. But yeah, coming into this year's final, which ended up being, as I mentioned earlier, Novak versus Carlos, there was a lot going into it. For Carlos, this was his opportunity to push away all of the young tennis players, including Jannik Sinner, and become the tennis star of now and the future. It was a chance to win the 4th slam at 21 and win the French Open and Wimbledon in the same year. and most importantly, a chance to hear 1,000 more comparisons to Nadal. For Novak, this was a chance to have the most Grand Slams ever. But this was his chance to cement himself in history as the GOAT and silence the 5% of delusional fans who still don't think he is the tennis GOAT. A chance for him to pull off one of the most historic Wimbledon runs ever after retiring just weeks prior in the French Open, having knee surgery, and then coming back. Are you kidding me? This would be historic. And a chance for Novak to do what he likes more than anyone else, vengeance after last year. But in the end, Carlos Alcaraz goes out there and dominates. This man is the winner of not only this match, not only this round, but of Wimbledon as a whole. I honestly doubted him. I didn't think he was going to be able to go out there and perform again this year, especially after the French Open. But he goes out there, destroys everybody, and most importantly, destroys the GOAT. That was an absolutely stunning performance. He was hitting winners from every side of the court, from every angle, from every type of shot, drop shot, lob, serve, smash, forehand, backhand, you name it. Carlos was smacking that shit. Holy. And on the other side of the court, Novak, he came out a little bit flat. He hadn't played a strong player like Alcaraz. And honestly, it felt like in those first two sets, he didn't even think he had a chance. He had no belief. And then Carlos, 5-4, 40 love up to seal one of the most straightforward wins of his career and one of the most straightforward losses of Novak's finals. He ends up getting broken. That was actually, whoa, can we just take a second and think about the scenario if Novak ended up coming back after being down 5-4, 40 love? That would have been insane, and honestly, I would have loved it. That would have been the craziest tennis match of all time. It did not happen though. Carlos, there's just something about that kid. He does not mind losing points. He does not mind losing games. He does not mind losing sets because he knows he will win it in the end. And for Novak, the loser of this round, what does it mean for him? What does it mean for tennis as a whole? Obviously, it really does mean what we've been thinking for the past few years. The fact that it's times are changing. The GOATs are out of the way. Federer retired, Nadal is done for, and Djokovic, he might be done too, with guys like Sinner and Alcaraz taking their spots. Not you, Holger. Not you. Not yet. Focus up. Maybe in the future. Come on, man. This should be motivation. And while this has got to be disappointing for him, and it's got to raise the question: is he done? Is the GOAT done? Is the career over? It's Novak. Is it ever over? Will it ever be over? I don't think so.